Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is June the 28th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. The day was nice. It was light. Happy Friday to ya. Hopefully these vibes hit you right where it needs to, whether it be on a Friday or on whatever day you're listening to this. But yeah, definitely. Let's see here. Like I said, work went well. Definitely spent a lot of time talking about the presidential debate at work with coworkers. That was a little lively, but we'll get into that, I guess, in a second. But yeah, overall, like I said, work was good. Food corner from last night was Korean fried chicken with the rice. Let's see, I had some egg rolls. Pretty textbook, very yummy. I enjoyed it. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and do the startup, and we'll go ahead and get into it. I like that. I mean, definitely a lot to talk about up top in terms of that debate. All right. Yeah. Okay. So, from CNN, which actually hosted the debate, and then they like simulcasted it on NBC, so you could watch it there. It was 90 minutes, two breaks, live. I feel like that's a relevant thing to mention. I mean, granted, always the debates are live, but yeah, you really got to see it, and this was a doozy. But yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Takeaways from CNN's presidential debate with Biden and Trump. Now, I'm going to say out top, we're going to probably riff through a lot. I'm probably going to miss some, mea culpa. But, yeah, I mean, it was a lot of just... It was a lot, and yet it was just nothing at the same time. Because if I were just to just distill it down for you, it was like being in a nursing home and listening to two old people just yell and argue with each other until it just really got to the point of just being completely petty. And that was it. There was no substance. There was like no point. It was just people, it was just two guys just being mean to each other. But one of them definitely was like sunsetting or having like a dementia moment or something was happening. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. President Joe Biden is 3 years and 7 months older than former President Donald Trump. In their debate Thursday night on CNN, the gap between the 81-year-old incumbent and his 78-year-old challenger seemed much larger. Biden, hoarse and displaying little vocal range, was often unable to express his differences with Trump with clarity. At one point, after Biden had trailed off as he defended his record on border security, Trump said, "I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either." And now, I know on the defense, there are definitely some people who are trying to run some defense for Biden, saying like, hey, these are senior moments, not to mention not just senior moments, like there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot on the line here, not to mention he had a quote unquote cold, whatever, but it is crazy because the Democrats wanted this fight. They wanted an early debate so they could get out ahead and try to offset the little bit that they were behind on the polls, it seemed. They really wanted to try to cement something, do something here. And, like, really the bar was kind of low. Like, all you really had to do if you're Joe Biden, you show up, you say your points, as best you can, you let the man lie and lie and lie and lie and lie. And I think they were really hoping for, like, a Trump blow-up, because that happened, like, the first time they had their debate. But nothing went seemingly to plan there. More or less, Trump definitely did lie a lot. He stuck to that script, but he didn't like lash out, I think, in the way that everyone kind of expected him to. And it kind of made sense because he's been doing rallies, and it almost feels like he was just like getting his like work up. He was just getting warmed up for it. And you see him walk up and yeah, he's got his turkey neck and everything like that. He's still Donald fucking Trump, but he has enough charisma to get through these kind of situations. And I don't want to say like, oh, he held himself with poise and grace. I wouldn't say that. But he kept it cordial enough that he got to say like, I'm the victor of this like I'm the victor of this debate. And I think overall that is definitely the big takeaway, because Biden literally just came through and was mush mouth. He was having moments where he was like running things together. Like we would be talking about Ukraine and then it's like, what are we talking about? I'm confused. Like, what are you saying? There was moments like that with Medicare. And like Trump would have this thing, like the way that the debate structure was set up, you would have like a minute or so to talk, and then you'd get like the opponent, the other side would get a rebuttal, and then you'd get a rebuttal. It was supposed to kind of work like that. But like Trump would like use the time to kind of talk about the last subject a little bit more, talk his shit, then maybe get in like that. Like the moderators would kind of be like, hey, could you like answer the question? Like, we're kind of trying to get your opinions on abortion here or whatever. And he'd finally give like a little bit. Like they had that with like the EPA, like the environmental protection stuff. And he winds up like at the end of it, after he's like literally going in on Joe over another subject, he finally goes, yeah, I want clean air. I want clean water. We were doing that shit until Joe fucked it up. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing here. But it was just definitely a messy ass fucking debate. Kind of once again talking a little bit more about Trump. He kept it really hot on the immigration thing, because I think that's just a button you can push, like a culture war button, that just gives him points, because he can always keep pointing to Biden and saying, Biden can't do what I do. He won't shut down the border the way I will. And he's right and he's wrong, because obviously I've talked about this before. Biden has definitely aligned his shit more or less with Trump, just like minus the wall, and essentially trying to do the same thing. You know, he tried to, I think he even mentioned a bit of like the border being a little bit better since his asylum change, but you really can't claim that, because Trump was like, yeah, I'm going to do that. I was going to do that shit. I was doing that shit. I was going to do that shit harder than you, bro. It was crazy. It was weird. At another point, he talks about how immigrants are stealing black jobs. And that was crazy, because kind of referencing back to the conversation I'm having at work, I'm definitely in the minority here in this conversation, not just in skin tone here. But like, I'm listening to these guys just go off about how much they're just hating Biden. They think this is so bad. And in that, I agree. Like, Biden looked terrible. Like, it is no way that this guy looks fit for purchase after what you saw if you watched that debate. It just does. You can't sell it. I mean, in the next article, we're going to try to get into, kind of a bit of the aftermath. But at the end of the day, that is what Biden is going to try to do. But I think for some people after this debate, you kind of saw a paradigm shift for them, where there were some like libs that were like, oh shit, this is bad news bears, Trump might actually win, like no one wants to pick this guy, I don't know if we can even pick this guy. And that's understandable, I guess. But like, to me, I'm not surprised. I've seen this guy fall over on bikes. I've seen this guy trip over fucking sandbags. I've seen this guy sunset in the middle of the fucking party while Kamala Harris is bopping around. Like, yeah, dude, this is a train that we're on, because at the end of the day, the Dems did not want to put up another fucking candidate. They just would not. They refused. And honestly, Biden was like, no, I'm lockjawed. I'm here. I'm not moving, Jack. This is the malarkey. I am him. And he's not leaving. He's not fucking going anywhere. So, I mean, it's definitely, I feel like, more on the DNC. I think technically they could try to pick another pick, but it just really would not work. Not as it stands. You would have to see more of a actual push for more Democrats and just more people, I think, to see that, maybe. But and I honestly, I mean, at this point, I would literally pick anyone. I heard some people shopping like Gretchen Whitmer. Some of my friends talking Pete Buttigieg, and I get it, but I don't know. But Kamala Harris is also another thing, and it's just like, dude, people love to laugh at Kamala, and I hate to say that. I was hoping that she was going to be female Obama, but that's not what we got. And even then, I know the problems with Obama. We've talked about that shit at length. So yeah, I mean, shit was a mess, but kind of once again, I know I got to back to the work conversation, and I kind of left it. It was crazy to hear, because there was a one situation where I had another person of color with me, and they were like kind of echoing more of the points that I wanted to make, and I was like, good, that's nice. But then I had another guy who was also of color talking about how like, oh no, like people forget that like Trump was hanging out with Jesse Jackson and all this fucking shit. Like, oh, okay, that doesn't mean that he's not a racist. It doesn't mean that he didn't say some racist shit literally today on the podium last night. Whatever, y'all know what I'm saying. Shit, I'm having Biden moments. But at the end of the day, it's just crazy to me that people are like, oh no, Trump's fine actually. I actually maybe am a little bit more okay with Trump. And it's like, no, you should just hate both of these people in my opinion. I'm more okay for the guy actually who's just not gonna vote, I think. I don't know. Maybe I am changing on that. But I mean, me personally, you know, where am I at with it? Where Isaiah, what do you think? Are you gonna still vote? Are you still voting for? Yes, I'm voting for that fucking Crypt Keeper. Like, just like I voted for goddamn Hillary Clinton and all her emails. Like, yes, I know these are not the picks that I want. I want to see a real candidate that's actually going to do some change, not lie to me. I know that, dude. Yes, but like, I've seen the shift. I hate being in America where you have a Republican-led administration. That shit is just worse to me. Maybe that's just me being particular politically. I don't know. But no, it feels different when you see these guys on their pickup trucks with the fucking Trump 20 whatever the fuck, and they're looking at you like you don't matter. Like they could do whatever the fuck they want to you. And yeah, maybe that's me being fucking anecdotal or whatever, but that's my fucking opinion, and it is my name on the podcast. So that's why you hear me talking this shit. So yeah, you know, that's kind of where we're at with it. I feel like obviously there's more to say. There's more details. But yeah, it was a shit show. Biden did not do well. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise on that shit. But that being said, Trump did nothing but lie. Like for the record, like I don't want to act like I'm like knobbing this dude off with like, you know, the Trump style double fists. I'm not trying to say that shit, but like, he just did way better than that cadaver of a man did last night. That's all I know for certain. But yeah, let's kind of move on to the part 2 of this, the aftermath. From Yahoo News, presidential debate full coverage. Biden and Trump rally crowds after first 2024 showdown. Also, the next one is in September. I believe that one is going to have an audience, which this last one didn't. So I think that is only going to do more points for Trump. And it's also going to be on ABC. That's pretty neutral. But I think Trump just does better with an audience. And if there's even like a portion of the crowd that goes, woo, and gives a little clap or something like that, that's going to juice him up. That's Birdman in the sun, dude. Like, you don't want to see that. Because, yeah, I do think Trump has it in. Actually, no. I'm not done. Actually, I'm going to peel it back a little bit. I'll give Biden a couple of credits of coherence. There was one moment where he calls Donald Trump a felon. Like, he just actually calls that shit out. There's another moment, too, where he brings up the porn star shit and says that Trump has the... he says he has, like, something of an alley cat. Like, the mannerisms of an alley cat or the manners of an alley cat, whatever. And I kind of thought that was a bar for an old man to say. But back to the felon part, you literally just see Trump do like this long smile wince, and like he just looks like someone put a knife in his fucking fat ass belly, and that brought me joy. Once again, kind of going back to that moment, like it meant a lot to see Trump get a felony case, because I know that's such a blow to his ego. And like, he can keep saying that how, oh, America has failed and it's and blah, 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 blah. And it's not real. It's a fake trial. It's blah. But he knows that a group of 12 motherfuckers said, no, that dude is guilty of sin. He is a felon now. And like, I think that really hurts his pride. I think it hurts his ego. And I love seeing that shit. It just makes me happy. Then Trump tried to fire back and said that like Hunter Biden was like a high level felon, which is just weird to like say the high level thing. He did that a couple times in the debate. Like, just say an elite, like an elitist. I don't know. It's just weird when we try to update the verbiage and it's that like, So yeah, sorry. Back to that. Back to this article. A day after their first political showdown of 2024, both President Biden and former President Donald Trump continued with their campaigns. Speaking at a rally in North Carolina on Friday, Biden, 81, conceded he didn't have the best debate performance but said that even though he doesn't debate as well as he used to, he's still the best person for the job. AKA, he's not fucking leaving. He's gonna ride this shit out to the end, and if he loses, then we're gonna be like, man, how did this happen? How did we get here? It's crazy. I guess. Maybe next time, y'all, let's make a better plan than like say, hey, the goal is to just be better than the Republicans. Like, man, why don't and that was yet again another problem with the debate is that you just see like Joe Biden's strategy is very lockstep with what the DNC usually fucking does, which is just say like, hey, let's just market ourselves as just better than the Republicans. And if we just make any promises to people, then they'll buy that shit. And in that regard, I believe and understand why people hate Democrats, because all they do is lie to you too. They just sell you a lie that just has a lot more roses to it and sounds more moral and high-minded. And I get that. It helps you sleep at night. It's an opiate, but God damn it. Once again, the pickup trucks and the Trump signs, that shit really bothers me when I'm trying to pump my gas at the goddamn UDF, and I want to see less of it. So yeah, I'm voting for the cadaver. Anyway, so that was on, Biden's side. He's like, oh, I was sick, actually. I tried to. And then Trump just flexed. I mean, he more or less said in his rally in Virginia, Trump, it's not his age, it's his competence. I would say, I mean, that's a blow. That'll hit. Let's see. Yeah, the next debate's going to be September 10th. So there we go. We'll say we covered it. I know I butchered that shit, but hey, I'm not going to be leader of the free world anytime soon. So, whatever. Also, I do this shit for free. For fucking free. Unless, you're a newsie and you subscribe. I love you. That's dope. But, most of y'all ain't paying me. There's only 2 of y'all, okay? Anyway, let's move on. Also from CNN. Former U.S. this is not a president, I'm sorry. Former U.S. diplomat sentenced to 15 years in prison after pleading guilty to spying for Cuba. Manuel Rocha, the former U.S. ambassador to Bolivia, who acted as a Secret 4 agent of Cuba, was sentenced to 15 years in prison after pleading guilty to federal charges. A judge telling him, you turn your back on this country. Rocha, 73, pleaded guilty in Miami to 1 count of conspiracy to act as an agent of a foreign government and defrauding the United States. He also pleaded guilty to acting as an illegal agent of a foreign government without notice to the U.S. government. Prosecutors have alleged that the former American diplomat acted as a covert agent of Cuba's intelligence services for decades. So yeah, I mean, this was a story we covered a little ways back, and just wanted to deliver the update here. Let's see. Judge Beth Bloom sentenced Rocha 5 years for conspiracy to act as an agent of a foreign government and 10 years for acting as a foreign agent to be served consecutively. Also, she was pissed that the prosecutors didn't ask to strip his citizenship. And the prosecutor said, well, due to his age and the fact that it's 15 years, we kind of just figured it was a life sentence and that was good enough. And they later add that they can add the charge to potentially take his citizenship away. But yeah, no, I kind of agree. That seems like overkill. You're kind of beating a dead horse here. Once again, he's going to spend the rest of his life in jail. But I mean, hey, whatever. Bloom can go off if they want to. Let's see here. What else did I want to? Oh, I wanted to actually, I guess, talk. I'm not sure if I talked about this in the last time we talked about Rocha in terms of being a spy. Rocha described being in charge of what he called the knockdown of small planes, which prosecutors believe to be an incident during Rocha's tenure working for the State Department in Havana when Cuba shot down 2 unarmed airplanes operated by members of Brothers to the Rescue, a U.S.-based group opposed to Castro's government, killing 4 men. Which, that's a sticky quagmire in and of itself there. But, let's see. I get it. Obviously, that's bad. We're talking spy shit. But kind of going back to my main thread, yes, murder's bad. He's bad. He's getting jail time, so, I don't really know what else to really do here. This is more or less case closed for me. I'm okay with it. But, yeah, spies are they're gonna do espionage. You know, we have plenty of spies in the U.S. as a nation state, and we throw those motherfuckers out everywhere, like goddamn seas in a goddamn fucking field. And you know, when we get caught, when we get busted, whoa, we don't fucking go, oh, so sorry, we're so bad. Like at the end of the day, we just fucking brush that shit off and keep moving. So I expect that other nation states are going to do the same thing to us. Obviously, it's unfortunate when these wicked little games wind up and people get killed. You know, that's definitely fucked up. That's definitely bad. But it never surprises me to kind of see it happening. Especially, you know, oh my God, to us, America? I can't believe that. We trusted you. Now we should hate all people. Ugh, that was another thing too, man. It was hearing people like with the immigration shit. Like that's why I know I'm going back to it. I'm sorry. I really can't stop myself here. But just like I understood immediately why he made that conversation about that, because at the end of the day, these motherfuckers can't tell you why the economy's bad. It's fucked. And I mean, they're both responsible in their own ways, you know, both parties. And at the end of the day, you can't do anything about abortion. I mean, if you're Trump, you already did it, and now you're being like, it's states' rights. I'm like, whatever. I'm washing my hands of it. And Biden's like, yeah, no, he's the bad guy, but he's not gonna actually work harder to actually do anything else other than like say, oh, you know, my hands are tied. I'm doing my best. So they kind of wind up matriculating down to the immigration conversation, and like it'd be so weird to see Biden take the bait and like try to go from abortion to then try to talk about an immigration situation where, you know, a woman was murdered. And it's like, bro, you're not making any fucking sense. You're sounding like me right now on a podcast where I'm going back to shit. This isn't adding up. You know what I mean? It's just weird. And it was so weird. It was such a weird night. Sorry. Parts of it just kind of fled back to me. And then I winced and I'm like, oh yeah, I should talk about that. That shit was gross and it was weird. Anyway, let's see here. I have one more thing to talk about, and then I will free you from this nightmare of an episode. I'm sorry. Let's see here. It's from CNN again. I think that's a hat trick. Let me actually wait. Let me pause. Let's take a break. Hey, oh yeah. And feel free to hit me up about this shit, because this is definitely a piece of news that I enjoy talking about. Like, I was making memes about this shit. I was, like, hitting people's comment threads, like, chirping about it. Like, I'm definitely still down to keep talking about it, keep yapping. But, yeah, I figured I'd at least leave some of my thoughts and things in this episode. Ooh. Okay, we needed that. Also, I know it's early, but we still don't have a Trump VP pick yet. We still don't know who he's going to pick for vice president. Which is not crazy, but I just want to know, you know? Oh, sorry. I'm just thinking out loud. Whew. From, once again, from CNN. Former Uvalde school police chief officer in first ever criminal charges over failed response to 2022 mass shooting. A grand jury has indicted two former Uvalde school police officers in the botched law enforcement response to the 2022 mass shooting at Robb Elementary School that left 19 children and two teachers dead. Two Texas state government sources with knowledge on the indictment told CNN Tuesday. Former Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District Police Chief Pete Arredondo and former school police officer Adrian Gonzalez were named in the indictments, which represent the first criminal charges filed in the school massacre. Something that's worth noting, and it's in the article where they kind of wind up talking about it, but there was 376 police officers there that day. And they didn't stop any of that shit. So I get why we are getting like the two top guys, but I can understand for the families, you know, the victims, why like this is something, and we're happy to see it, but like it's almost endless what we want out of this, because it's like there's just no amount of justice we can get, and it's none of it's gonna bring, our child back. Um, so obviously, we're back on a fucked situation, right out of the abyss. But just I guess a little bit more details. Ariando surrendered himself to custody of the Texas Rangers in Uvalde on Thursday. An official with the Texas Department of Public Safety told CNN the former chief was booked on 10 counts of child endangerment and known criminal negligence, according to the indictment. Ariando was then released on bond, according to the Uvalde County Jail. Gonzalez was booked into the Uvalde County Jail early Friday afternoon, the Uvalde Leader News reported, citing Uvalde County Sheriff's Office Chief Deputy Brandon McCrutchen. So we'll leave it there. I know we're gonna come back here, and at this point though, it's hard. I mean, y'all know, longtime listeners know that covering the shit, it hurt. You know what I mean? And I know that it's like, oh, well, you weren't there, you didn't go through it. But it's like, if you feel shit, if you're a normal fucking human being, this shit bothers you, right? Like, god damn it. So, I just don't want to get into the weeds of it. But I know that it's not done. And I get it. Like I said, I know that there are some people in Uvalde that are like, hey, it's time to move on. Like, they had a moment where they're like, hey, look, like, this happened, but we got to keep it moving. But this is like the prime thing of, like, anyone who's talked about this shit, anyone who's lived through this shit, it's like, no, you can't. Like, if you're a person who's lost someone, there's just no way that you can do that. Your world stopped. Everything is different now. And, I know that the people of Uvalde are struggling with that. But I get why this is important, why it has to happen. I always have my scruples with the goddamn law enforcement. Y'all know this shit. But this definitely hits a certain kind of way, and I can understand why it's like, look, no, we want to hold these people who literally sat here outside while our fucking child was murdered. Like, you just don't let that shit go. I get that. So, more power to them, and we'll definitely keep you abreast of that shit. Okie dokie artichokes, I think I want to call it there. I'm sorry. I cracked the door open and I didn't like what I saw. But yes, if you'd like to help out and become a newsie today, you can. You become number 3. Though I will say, you can also, if you want, you can just subscribe for free. It doesn't give you anything. Like, I mean, really none of this gives you anything. It's a tip jar. But, you can become a newsie. You'll be listed among the ranks. I will see the number grow, and that does feel good in a way. But yes, it's a financial thing, $5 a month or whatever, however much you want to give, month to month on that. It's appreciated. It helps grow the effort, helps me out, helps me buy a coffee, or, if it's enough, maybe get a new laptop, a new setup so I can sound a little better, maybe a little less shitty. Not that I'm going to really deliver, it's what it is. Anyway, free ways to hit me up, find me, whatever, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscription in terms of free, YouTube, that helps out a ton. Get those numbers up. Hell, I love seeing, new followers on Twitter. You know what I mean? Even if you're a bot, you're probably a porn bot or something, but like, hey, thanks for joining. Thanks for being a part of the effort until you get scrubbed out, dope. That's so cool. You can like a thing or share it. That'd be dope. But no, but seriously, thank you so much for just taking a part in this experience with me. I have friends who hit me up about this stuff and saying, hey, I'm excited to hear what you have to say about blah. And that means the world to me. When y'all tell me, like, hey, I listened to this shit, I love that. Like, hell yeah. Even if it's pushback, even whatever, I just really appreciate you being a part of this, because it means a lot to me. I know that maybe people think that I take this shit like lackadaisical, haphazardly, but no, it really does mean so much to me to do this and to not do it alone. Even though I am just in my fucking bedroom by myself, I know that there are people out there taking the shit in. And, I'm sure I'm not that informative, but like, I just appreciate you hanging out. It really does mean everything. It really does mean a lot. So, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.